Welcome everyone to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. Today is Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. Adam Freeman here in Atlanta, Georgia. Paul Brees is in Brentwood, Tennessee. What's going on, Paul?
Oh, man, just inching closer to Christmas, right?
Yep. Did you guys have basketball practice today?
No basketball today.
How are you kids supposed to get better if they're not practicing over the break?
Well, listen, it has come to my attention that I don't get paid extra to practice.
Extra?
And so that's obviously a joke. But we are going to reconvene back on December 28th, giving the kids some time off, giving their parents a break, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because they're the ones that have, in middle school, they're the ones that have to drive them to and from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Middle school is a whole different animal.
Yeah, with the governor, implementing new COVID protocols in the state of Tennessee that will run through January 19th, no more than, I guess, they said 10 people in any kind of indoor event, except for sporting events, which can only have parents or guardians or household members at the high school events. And they have now said no cheerleaders, no dance team.
Wow.
So no student sections, no nothing. And if you're,
what does that mean for the Music City Bowl?
That means that's an outdoor venue, right? So they're going to be okay. I would think it's going to be maybe 12,000.
Yeah.
So I guess my whole point is that, if you're walking in and thinking you're going to come to a basketball game in Tennessee, you better tell them, hey, there's my kid over there playing, because they're not going to let you in.
Either that or you have alternate plans.
Correct.
Geez. Correct. Okay. Well, that's interesting because that has not trickled down to Georgia. There's been nothing like that. We're still, our basketball teams are still playing tournaments.
Yeah.
Our basketball team had a tournament this past weekend, girls and guys. So, I think that's part of the issue that we run into with the spikes and cases is there's no consistency anywhere, so.
I think Tennessee is, in the top 5 currently of active cases in the United States. So maybe in the top 3. Somebody had said maybe even number 1, but I don't know.
I think they are top 2. They're either first or they're second. Yeah. So y'all got a definite problem up there. That's for sure. Speaking of which, I'll be actually headed to Tennessee tomorrow.
Oh,
but I'm only going to Chattanooga. My sister and I are doing a gift exchange, so meeting her halfway.
Rock City?
Right. I don't know if we're going to Rock City or not. We're meeting at trying to think of the name of the restaurant. You guys can give us some input on whether or not I'm trying to think of the name of the place that we're meeting. Okay, it's called the Blue Fox Cheese Shop.
Oh, really?
Which is not normally a place I would frequent, but apparently it's kind of a cool little hangout there. So it's 330 East Main Street. We're going to have a conversation with them about possibly sponsoring Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul when I get down there tomorrow. So, so we'll be at the Blue Fox Cheese Shop at noon tomorrow, signing autographs and handing out free T-shirts. So if you guys want to pop on down to East Main Street, Chattanooga tomorrow at noon, you can see me along with my entourage and my nephews and my sister, and we'll have a table out front of the Blue Fox Cheese Shop. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. I mean, we're not even going up there, Paul. I mean, Leslie's parents came over today, gave the kids their gifts. We stayed, 6 feet apart, and we're not normally, we go to Murfreesboro, stay with Gretchen, and then mom and dad come over, and that's not happening this year. We're just going to Chattanooga and doing a gift exchange and headed back home. And it's not even going to be the whole family. It's just going to be me and Abby, because Ella actually has swim practice tomorrow at noon. And Leslie's still getting some stuff together Christmas-wise. So, yeah, definitely an odd ending to 2020. But let's talk about the future, because there's a lot of teams in the NFL that are looking to the future. All right. And probably two of the major ones are the Jets and the Jags. Okay. And the Jets, despite the great win they had yesterday on the road against the Rams, 17-point dog, thanks a lot. And they basically put themselves in second place. They're now behind the Jags for Trevor Lawrence and the number 1 pick. What do you think about that?
Here's my thought process on this.
Go, baby.
Adam Gase, New York Jets football coach, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He knows the end is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's going to go out the door with middle fingers in the air, and he's going to try to win every game possible to screw the Jets over and make sure that the Jags are going to get Trevor Lawrence. Because obviously the plan from day one and from the Jets front office is, hey, we're going to do what we can. We're going to try to make some moves with some player personnel that, that we've stockpiled and got, but you know what?
They haven't panned out.
Jamal Adams, all those people.
Le'Veon Bell, Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Adam Gase, he's going to make sure that he's going to try to pick up a win. And even if they tie, though, right? You mentioned it. The Jags are going to get it. How bad would the Jets fans just implode if they get Justin Fields? Because I think and I know he's not an NFL. I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning NFL quarterback, such as possibly a Trevor Lawrence is. I don't know that for a fact. Obviously, things change. People get better as years progress. But from what I've seen from Justin Fields this year in a short amount of time, I just don't know if his progression has really made him a number 2 pick worthy.
Well, here's the thing about Justin is I think it hurts him. This season hurt him because of the brevity of the season, not just in his stats, but in his development and in his maturation as a quarterback, because he played all 15 games last year, played sparingly at Georgia, and then he's got 6 games on his resume this year versus Trevor Lawrence, who's 40 plus games.
Yeah.
Okay. And has won 1 national title, 2 national titles, 2 national titles,
and 0 Heisman Trophy. This guy is not even in the conversation.
No, I mean, you got 3 guys at Alabama that are ahead of him, even ahead of Trevor Lawrence. But Lawrence has proven that he can win the big game. He can make plays. He can make plays with his arm, make plays with his legs. Justin can do both those things. It's just his body of work is not as established as Trevor Lawrence. Now, here's the thing too. They're actually talking about, and this is our next point here, is talking about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones possibly being out once here in Atlanta, possibly when the new general manager is going to be given basically control to make a decision on those 2 contracts and say, look, if he wants to stick with them, and try to build around them in the later part of their career, or if he wants to cut bait and go and do a total rebuild, the ownership has said, whoever we bring in as general manager, we will basically allow them to do that. So do you package a Julio Jones or something, you work out a trade or something with let's say that Atlanta ends up 4-12 and they have the 4th or 5th pick, do you give, let's say the Jets are number 2, right? Do you trade up and give them a Julio Jones to trade up to 5 from 5 to 2 to get a Justin Fields? and then maybe move Matt Ryan or something. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen. There's a lot of things that I think are possible. What do you think, man? I don't know. And they're talking about Fields could end up in Atlanta, which would be awesome for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to go to New York Jets. Who does? I mean, think about it. You got Sam Darnold. They just picked him 3 years ago, and they're already giving up on him, basically.
And I think Sam Darnold in a different franchise could excel. I think he's just in the wrong spot.
Yeah. I think you could get him down here in Atlanta, and he would be okay.
Yeah. I like that trade, right? If I was the Jets and I could get a 5, Julio and Matt Ryan, sure. I mean, but it sounds to me like they're wanting to build for the future, not win right now mentality.
Who's that?
Crazy, which is crazy.
Who, the Jets or the Falcons?
Yeah, the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when was the last time they made the playoffs? 2008? Had a playoff like 2008 with Mark Sanchez as your quarterback. That's when their defense basically won them games. Now they basically have nothing. I could not believe that they beat the Rams like that. That blew me away.
All right, listen, for all you sports bettors out there, take the Rams. Take the Rams this week. They're going to have to prove they belong. Yep. So there's your not lock of the week, but a heavy dose of the Rams will definitely make sure that they're going to cover.
Who they got?
Hold on. I mean, I just looked at this. Old age, right?
Old age, definitely.
Every time.
Definitely.
It's a good team. It is a good team. No, well, I say good team. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. And, Vegas on the cusp of, they lose, they're probably out, right?
Well, I think they're about a 5% chance to make the playoffs as is right now. Yeah, they lose, they're done. Yeah.
So
and you got Mariota starting. He looked really good.
And I think Matt Ryan could in Las Vegas would be a pretty good landing spot for him.
Yeah.
So
not bad. All right, but that's a possibility. Everybody here is talking about, hey, it's time to get rid of these guys. They're too old. Julio's always injured. Matt makes too many mistakes in the red zone. People here are absolutely getting the pitchforks out, and they are ready to run them both out of town.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I think it's what's going to end up eventually happening. Problem is, you owe them too much money. That's the problem. You're tied to them. So even if you trade them, you're still paying them.
Yeah.
So that's an issue. All right. Brees, you're going to have to roll with this one because I don't know. This is one of your TMZ deals, so I don't know too much about what happened. I do know he started the game against the Seahawks.
Right. He had Dwayne Haskins, quarterback for the Washington Football Club. I think former number
6 pick. Number
huh?
6. He was number 6 pick. Yeah.
Okay. Man, listen, when you guy like Alex Smith jumps you in the depth chart, the franchise has no faith in you, and I think he feels that. But he was the only option this Sunday against the Seahawks. Thank goodness for Chase Young and the rest of the Skins defense, the football club's defense, kept it close, 20-15. Dwayne Haskins made a couple of bonehead plays, one in the red zone that probably cost him. So how does Dwayne Haskins celebrate? A little private party, maskless, with some, some females, right? Anyway, you try to keep this kid friendly, right?
It was at their place of business, correct?
Actually, he hired them in to a location.
Okay, all right.
Brought them in. So the Washington Football Club is now saying, this is his second COVID breaking of protocol. The first, he tried to bring in a family friend. They said family friend back early on in the season at the team hotel when they were playing Buffalo. and he got one of the team security guards stop that threat.
Okay.
And early on, right, as we're talking about the NFL, everybody had seen the NBA's success of the bubble, and they were trying to kind of not really emulate it, but they were really protective of everything that was going on. I think now most teams are like, hey, once you leave this game, when you go home, don't leave.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Haskins did not hear that. Heed those words of advice, or as Dwight Schrute would say, headed. Heat of Michael Scott. Anyway, so don't look for Dwayne Haskins to be back for the Washington Football Club. There's another option. There's another option for you, Atlanta Falcons. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think we would pass on that. All right. So now we get to something that hits home for you, Brees. I know this crushed you, right? You were all excited. You were going to pack up. You're going to be one of the 6,000 people at the Liberty Bowl, clad in orange, rooting your Vols on against some, I don't know, who they're supposed to play. Quality opponent, West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, that would have been a decent game then.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's don't jump the gun there. I don't know about a decent game. The Vols are not very good.
No, well, yeah. I mean, it would have been, if you're a West Virginia fan, it would have been a decent game.
Let me give you the breakdown of how this all played out, okay? So after it was announced that the Vols would, we hear immediately that the next day, Jeremy Pruitt and important staff members have have been tested positive for COVID. Now, as I told you before, the Alabama played on without Nick Saban, right?
Yep.
Okay. Bowl games are for the kids. Bowl games are giving you that extra, practices, one more shot.
11 you get 11 extra practices.
Yeah. Finish on a high note, after the way this season has just developed, anything positive for the Vols would be great. Okay. Pruitt develops COVID. I think how this may have been in his brain is that, hey, if Jim Chaney or T. Martin or whoever becomes the coach of the game wins a game, that they probably shouldn't win, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
I mean, now it's like, wait a minute, am I going to throw my job away by letting someone else coach this? He's already on the chopping block, the firing squad, the firing line. He's trying to survive it. He's going to use 2020 as an excuse all the way till his last breath, right? So,
here's my thing.
Theorist says he didn't want anybody else to coach the game.
I got it, I get that, and that kind of you almost put the Vols in the same category as our next topic, the Auburn Tigers. Like, if you're saying Jeremy Pruitt's on the hot seat and Auburn already fired Gus Malzahn, I'm thinking to myself, if you're Tennessee, who are you going to get? Like, the dude's won national championships as a coordinator. He's coached with Saban, the best college coach ever. I mean, what more do you want? At some point, was this year 3 with him?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see how these programs are just, it's like they want to be Alabama overnight, and it doesn't work like that. I think Saban, even his first year, was 7-6. Right. So, but the Auburn coaching search, this has turned into an absolute fiasco. And if you're an Auburn fan, it's kind of like, you're the last kid at the 7th grade dance who doesn't have a date, and every girl you ask has other plans. It's like, no, I don't think so. Hey, you want to go to the dance? No, no, I'm good where I'm at. It's like, and it's like nobody wants this job. And the guy they want to give it to, like the fan base is like adamant that he not get the job. Like they want to give it to Kevin Steele, but the fan base is like, no, we don't want Kevin Steele. And they're looking everywhere and everybody's just turning it down. What do you think that's about, Paul?
Okay, so I call it the fiasco of the Jeremy Pruitt Tennessee hire, right? They had all these people in mind. They got in Plan D mode. The school went off hard right and tried to hire Greg Schiano. The fan base erupted. They told Schiano he had the job. The fan base got crazy and said, "No, we don't want this guy." What did Tennessee pulled the job out from under him?
Yeah.
Schiano took off to Rutgers,
where he's being very successful.
Correct.
He's a good coach.
Now we have Jeremy Pruitt, and 3 years later, we're in the talks of getting another coach. I mean,
what is their record? 3-7?
Yeah.
Wow.
But this, as we talked about earlier, at like 5:30 today, Boise State's Brian Harsin has been named the football coach at Auburn.
Okay. Well, that's, again, recent development.
Recent developments. This guy is 69-19, 3 Mountain West titles in 7 seasons at Boise. So
he must have taken over for Chris Peterson then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Boise, they're a power in that part of the country. Okay, but
but what you're trying to say, Adam, in a nice way, is you're about to play big boy football.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And you're about to have to recruit against LSU, Auburn, Florida, Georgia. Boise State. Now, what a lot of people don't understand about Boise State got a lot of kids from Nevada, California that were really good. Okay. And Chris Peterson did a really good job with that Southern California pipeline, getting them up to Boise and playing. This guy, what's his name? Harbinger? What?
His name is Brian Harsin.
That's a weird name.
Harsin.
All right, it's not Hardin, it's Harsin. Okay. All right, so this Harsin guy, listen, he's going to touch down. Well, heck, I don't even know what the nearest airport is. I guess he's going to touch down in Birmingham and drive to Auburn, I guess. And he's going to realize he is in a different place.
Yeah.
Auburn, Alabama is a different place. Okay. It is country. All right. And he's going to realize it's not that easy, and, you don't know what the future holds. You don't know how long his contract is, but the thing that you just wish they would have some patience with the guy and give him, more than 3 years, so he can recruit his guys and develop his system and implement his system. All right. Last but not least, Paul, this is a big one for me, as you well know. Happy 72nd birthday to my childhood idol, Steve Garvey, Dodger first baseman, should be Hall of Famer, probably not going to get in because he doesn't have the prototypical, the numbers, the 300 home runs, the 1,500 RBIs, the 3,000 hits. He's a few shy there. But for his time, 70s, early 80s, 11 straight All-Star games, MVP, multiple 200-hit seasons. He was a staple, big-time performer in the postseason and playoffs. He was my guy, man. I met him when I was 6 years old and followed him ever since. So the fact that he turned 72 today, it's hard to believe. It means we're old, dude.
I think we definitely qualifies.
Yes, indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this edition of Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. For Paul Brees in Brentwood, Tennessee, Adam Freeman coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. You've been listening to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul.